husband said she fell overboard in the Bahamas back in April. George Solis joins us now live. And George, the U.S. Coast Guard is now back out there searching in the water tonight in the Bahamas?
Yeah, that's right, Tom. A U.S. source familiar with the matter says those dive teams from the Coast Guard are back in the Bahamas and that dive teams could be in the water as soon as tonight.
Brian Hooker, he is not going to be a free man much longer. Let me tell you. I'm going to explain to you the procedures, what's going on right now, and why he is not going to be a free man much longer. Fugitive TV, stay tuned. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals, anything true crime, any case that needs to be solved or needs a deeper or a different perspective, insight on the case. Now, see, I'm able to give you a different look on certain cases and certain things is because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I actually ran for 15 years, lived in different countries. I was living under different names that eventually I turned myself in. Now I have multiple businesses. I help family members locate missing individuals. I even help people locate fugitives that might maybe have done something horrific to somebody else and they need to be caught. I know what it's like to be a fugitive. I mean, I lived in that underworld and have a lot of connections in that area still. So I'm able to use them to my advantage now. Well, this is about Lynette Hooker. And if you clicked on this video, you should know who Lynette Hooker is. She is the individual that, went missing allegedly in the Bahamas. Now, we know her body is missing, but going missing, two different things. Brian Hooker, her husband, has allegedly said that while they were on a dinghy and some very bad stormy weather and choppy waves that she fell off the dinghy. When she fell off the dinghy, she fell off with a dry bag and fell off with the keys to the engine, all kind of things. Then he said he was lost at sea for 8 hours, came back on shore. When she fell off the dinghy, they were separated by the current, which I said never made sense because the current should be pushing both of them. I'm not even a boater, but I know that the current should be pushing both of them to the same direction. I don't think you would split apart like that. That didn't make sense to me. Well, a lot of things he said didn't make sense. And I made my video prior to this on about how now they are going to the Bahamas to search another area. Now, see, his GPS device did not add up to the area where he said she fell off the dinghy.
These dive teams expected to search this new area for new clues and evidence related to the disappearance of Lynette Hooker. And it comes after GPS data collected from the couple's boat appears to undercut what Brian Hooker told authorities about where the couple was when Lynette Hooker went missing. Now, it's unclear what this data has officially revealed, but it seems to have driven the search to this new area. It's important to note that Brian Hooker has not been charged with any crime, and we did reach out to his attorney tonight for comment, did not hear back.
Now, forensics looked into his GPS devices. They sent it out to Quantico, first of all. Anytime you have evidence that gets sent out to Quantico, FBI, you're going to jail. I'm just going to let you know that now. You're going to jail. If you ever get in trouble and they're sending something of yours to Quantico, you are going to jail. There's nothing you could do about that. There's a reason why they're sending it to Quantico, because they don't believe you. All right. Well, sent this thing to Quantico, and the GPS actually showed him in a totally different area than where he said Lynette fell off the dinghy at. And the GPS has him going in circles in this area, meaning he was probably looking for a good place to put her, maybe. We don't know. This is allegedly, right? Well, they have confirmed that her pink weight belt is missing. Okay. Apparently, an anchor from the ship is missing too. We don't know where it went. We don't know if it's tied on her. We don't know if he just lost them at sea. I can't tell you, right? Allegedly. But this is what we do know. Not only that, he had a camera on the ship, this infrared camera on that ship that actually should have helped him in searching for Lynette. But hey, his story is that he stayed on this dinghy the whole time and never even made it back to the main ship. Now, for some reason, if you don't know about the story and wondering what you mean by a dinghy is a small little boat that you get on. It fits no more. Maybe you could squeeze 3 or 4 people in there. Depends on the size of the dinghy. And you take the dinghy out to the bigger ship, because sometimes the bigger ship, there's no place for it to dock at. So you have to leave it out in sea, anchored to the bottom of the floor and everything else, right? So you leave it anchored and you take the little small ship out to the beach or whatever you're going to do. Get out, go eat. So that's what they did. They got out, went to eat, got on a dinghy, allegedly, and on the way back to the big ship is where apparently she fell out. Well, I already gave my respects to Ashley Banfield. If you don't know, Ashley Banfield pretty much cracked this case all by herself. So go watch her videos. She went out to the Bahamas, okay, and got footage of that night that there was allegedly a big storm. There was no big storm. There was no big choppy waters. Matter of fact, the waters that she allegedly fell in, those waters aren't even deep. They call it a big bathtub. Some of those parts you can stand right up in the waters at your neck. Now, I've never been there, but this is what I'm keep hearing. This is what also Ashley Banfield reported. Now, where the GPS is showing basically in waters that can go to 25 feet deep. So that's different. He never said he was over here in the 25-foot deep water. He said he was over here where it's more shallow. This is one of the reasons why they could not find her body. Now, they are going out to the Bahamas to go search for her body where those GPS coordinates are. They have to get permission. They can't just go searching. So they have to get permission. And I'm pretty sure they're going to say yes. So if they haven't, they might have got permission already and they might be searching right now, but they are going to go back out and going to go looking. They did seize his boat. His boat is over here off the coast in Florida. It's right outside of Fort Lauderdale. And I know for a fact they're going to take that boat out of the water so they can go through it thoroughly, and not only that, preserve the evidence. I, from the first start, said that boat was the crime scene. I said the big boat was the crime scene. I said that I believe that they got on that dinghy. They made it to the big boat, okay? And then something happened on the big boat. He attacked her. He lost his temper. He choked her out because there's prior incidents of him threatening to choke her, threatening him to throw her off the boat, hitting her, and there's prior records of him choking out his own daughter. So I said on the big boat, that is the crime scene. And then I think he used the smaller boat possibly to dump her off somewhere. So you have crime scene 1, the big boat, and then the dinghy, which will be crime scene 2. The only thing about the dinghy is I don't know where the dinghy's at. It's probably been rained on, so there's a lot of evidence that might not be preserved in the dinghy, but that might be crime scene number 2.
Michigan woman missing in the Bahamas is now a potential investigation. A U.S. official tells CBS News, and Coast Guard divers today began searching for Lynette Hooker in new areas.
An intensifying search as this U.S. Coast Guard cutter carrying a team of specialized divers arrived in Marsh Harbor today. CBS News has learned the U.S. probe into missing Michigan mom Lynette Hooker is being investigated as a possible foreign of a U.S. national. Coast Guard divers will be searching for new evidence in these waters, including potentially Lynette Hooker's body, based on GPS data that was gathered from an electronic device.
So Brian could have called himself being smart, went somewhere else, did something with her, tied her up with the weights, the extra anchor, dumped her off, thought she, hopefully she would float to the bottom. And then her Apple Watch mysteriously appeared on the beach. Apparently it floated on the beach somewhere. As far as to my knowledge, watches don't float. They're made out of metal. They sink. So he could have took her Apple Watch, dumped it on the beach, because there's footage of him walking on the beach by himself. Thanks to Ashley. She reported that and confirmed that too. Well, as of now, if you haven't heard, they are treating this now as a homicide investigation, people. A homicide. I'm not surprised. Not whatsoever. And I said this in my last video. And I told you guys, I said once the FBI seizes something, like if they raid something of yours, like your home, for example, you're going to jail. You're getting charged because they have to have some sort of evidence for them even to search. Okay. Now, I know it was the Coast Guards who went on the boat, and did everything, right? But I'm thinking it's going to be the FBI that does all of the charging, prosecuting him. Coast Guards don't. They're searching, get the evidence, but they're passing all that to the FBI. So once your property gets searched, it gets raided, you are most likely 90% of the time are going to go to jail. There's a reason why FBI has I believe it's a 95% conviction rate. Now that doesn't mean that you go to trial and it's 95% winning. No, that conviction means that includes people pleading guilty. Because what they do is they have so much evidence on you that you almost have no choice but to plead guilty. Your lawyer's looking at you like, listen, we're not going to go to trial, but I'm going to try and knock a lot of these charges down I can and try and get you the less time as possible. That's what a lot of these federal lawyers will tell you when they present you with so much evidence. So they're trying to build up all of the evidence they can on him and just dump it on him. And not only that, charge him with everything they can. Now, Brian did hire a new attorney, guys. So I think Brian knows that he is going to get arrested soon because he did hire a new attorney. In my last video, I said, will Brian run? And I say, even if he tried to run, he's not going nowhere, because once the feds are on you, once they're searching your stuff, they might leave. They left him alone, took his boat. That does not mean they're watching you. They have a tell on you. They have your phone bugged. I bet my last dollar Brian's phone is bugged right now. And it's not the old-fashioned bug that they put inside your cell phone. No, it doesn't work that way nowadays. What they do now is, let's say you send a text to somebody, that text will transfer to your tower, whether it's T-Mobile, Verizon, or AT&T, then it transfers to the other person's phone. What law will do is almost set up like a third party. It's like a dummy, if you want to call it that, to where the text will go to the law enforcement's device first, then it might go to the tower, then it will go to the other person's phone. So it's like they're in the middleman right there at the tower. So everything you do on your phone, texting, calling, they see, hear all that. And you don't even know. So they know everything this man's doing. They know exactly where he's at, okay? They know. The news media might not tell you, hey, I found him. So do I think he's going to run? Even if he tried, he's not getting far. He's not going nowhere. And I said this in my last video. Brian, he reminds me of a person who I guess you want to say maybe could be borderline narcissist. As in, he's not all the way there, but he's there just enough that he thinks he can outsmart the next person and get away with it. You get what I'm saying? But in actual reality, from the beginning, he didn't outsmart anybody. Everybody was like, hold on. You did what? She fell off the dinghy and what? She fell off a dinghy and you didn't jump in the water? You didn't try and save your wife? You just threw a life jacket at her is what you said? Oh, I couldn't see her. She floated away so fast. I was stuck in the water for 9 hours, 8 hours. I'm thirsty. We just didn't believe it. So I'm thinking this man might be confident enough to be like, Mr. Attorney, we could beat this. We could beat this. Because the attorney, what the attorney does, okay? The attorney, you hire the attorney to represent you. That does not mean attorney is in control of all decisions. So what happens is, let's say the feds come at the attorney with a plea offer. Say, hey, if he pleads to this, okay, we'll give him this. And then attorney, what his job is to do is take that plea offer and then present it to Brian. Now, the attorney can tell Brian, hey, this is what you're looking at. And this is probably your chances of winning a trial. You know, I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you to take this plea deal. But I can tell you this plea deal might be the best offer for you. That's technically what attorney's supposed to do. They're not supposed to tell you to take it. They're supposed to maybe give you some legal advice on if you should take it or not, but not tell you to. Now, Brian, on the other hand, I don't think he's probably going to take anything. If he takes something, it will shock me. I think he's going to say, gun ho, go to trial. Because how old is Brian? You guys let me know below how old is Brian. I never looked at his age. But I am pretty sure, that for Brian, anything over 10 years might be a death sentence for him. After 10 years, he's not going to get out to anything if he survives. So what's he going to do with his life? No money, no job, no nothing. So technically it's a death. Anything over 10 years to somebody that age is almost a death sentence to them. So most people that age, that's why you see them going to trial. Why take it to why take it to why get a plea deal anyway? I might as well just take it to trial. I'm going to be there the rest of my life. I'm going to come out to nothing. Now, can I see Brian do something else, like maybe taking himself out as an orphan himself? That might be that I can see. I can see that. And then maybe leaving behind some sort of letter to make people feel sorry for him. I can see that. But I figure I'd give you guys this news. This one will be a long video. Please like, subscribe. All right. Comment below where you're watching from. Comment below what you think. All right. Take care of one another. Love one another. This is Fugitive TV. Until next time, I'm out.